The Trayvon Martin narrative took a sharp turn this week as Florida newspapers began breaking stories about the case. One of the biggest and most controversial scoops was reported by Frances Robles of the Miami Herald. I spoke to her earlier from Sanford, Florida. Frances Robles, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us. Now, you broke the story on Monday that Trayvon Martin had been suspended from school 3 times, once for possession of marijuana, and there was another incident involving women's jewelry. Explain.
We've learned that he got caught marking up a wall with graffiti, and that when the school resource officer went the next day to investigate, they went through his book bag to find the marker for the graffiti, and instead they found a little bit more jewelry than a high school junior should have in his bag, wedding bands and things of that nature. But because there was never a victim and there was no one ever saying, hey, that's my jewelry and it was stolen, there was no charges, he was never arrested, and in fact, he was suspended for the graffiti. He was not suspended for burglary.
Talk a little bit about the reaction to that story. There were 5,000 comments posted online, and many of them were removed by the Miami Herald. What happened?
I think that same day you started to see a tide change, and not just because of that story. There was a few different things that happened at the same time. People started discovering Trayvon's Facebook or his Twitter, his digital fingerprint that showed that some of the photos that the family had shown of him were kind of outdated. And so then all of a sudden, the emails that we were getting and the comments that we were getting that were overwhelmingly in support of Trayvon, they started to shift. And people started saying really negative and vile things, and frankly, I didn't see most of the comments because, as you said, they were taken down.
Right. But now, in fairness, in that same story, you quoted the attorney for the Martin family, Benjamin Crump, as saying that the whole business about the suspension was completely irrelevant. We think everybody is trying to demonize him. So that brings me to the sort of central question. Why was it newsworthy that he had been suspended, given what happened on that tragic day?
I think it's just as newsworthy as all the things that we've printed about Zimmerman. I mean, nobody has had an issue with digging up his domestic violence complaints of the past, with an arrest that he had that also was dismissed. In a case that's this big, the interest is so monumental. Frankly, you really want to give a full biographical portrait of who are the players that are involved here.
And in fact, the day after that suspension story, you reported that Sanford police had wanted to arrest George Zimmerman, but the state's attorney refused, and I can't imagine that pleased people who are sympathetic to Zimmerman's side.
I think one of the things that you're seeing in this case is that people are expecting media to have taken a side. Just like you have some cable networks that have taken postures in this, they're expecting the local newspaper to have a posture, to have a side. And I think that that's clearly not our role. Our role is to present the information as it's brought to us. The thing that doesn't make sense about the Sanford Police Department wanting to file charges against George Zimmerman is that it flies in the face of everything that the police department had said publicly. So it's just one of those stories that makes you scratch your head.
So what is it like to be in the middle of this maelstrom, to be reporting on a story as inflammatory and as racially charged as this, and many people in the national media, as you say, are taking sides? Does that make you extra cautious about every word that you print?
Yes, absolutely. It's actually, your question is, what's it like? It's horrible, to be honest with you. I don't like being in the hot seat, and I think very few people do. I found myself the other night, well, first of all, you have editors who might try to push you. They say, well, don't you have it? So-and-so has that story. Can't you get it? And so there's a tremendous amount of pressure. So then you find yourself at night writing a story, wanting to make the story sound a certain way because that's the way it sounded on a TV station, or that's the way it sounded somewhere else where it was juicy. And you have to ask yourself, okay, wait, what did my source tell me? What do I know? And you have to really put an effort to block out all the noise, to block out all the things, the emails that you're getting or the things that you heard on television, and report strictly the information that your sources have given you. And as long as you do that with every single word that you write, I think that we can stay safe.
Understood. Let me ask you about something, a little incident that became a big deal online a couple of weeks ago. Trayvon Martin's family came to the Miami Herald and sat for a videotaped interview. When the newspaper posted the video, there was seemingly a question from a reporter when the family was asked, well, what did he like to eat? And someone said chicken.
Tell me about Trayvon's normal demeanor.
He's talking on the phone with his friends, with girls, he is watching sports on TV. He's eating. Chicken. He's eating everything.
What was behind that?
Oh, what a nightmare. The video was posted on a couple of blogs, an urban hip-hop blog and some other woman's blog, and it was taken out of context because, frankly, the original version that we posted was out of context. So we kind of did this to ourselves. And what an avalanche of response that we got. It was a Saturday, and all of a sudden, all at once, I started getting emails from all these people telling me that I was a racist, that I was a sociopath, that I should kill myself. And I wasn't even there, frankly. I was in Sanford. And so it was quite a scramble on behalf of the Miami Herald, because on something this important, you really can't be the major newspaper trying to be the paper of record on a story, looking like we were so grossly insensitive to Trayvon's family.
And just to be clear, earlier in the video, when originally that was edited out, family members were making jokes about chicken, and that was the context for that question.
Mm-hmm. Right, absolutely. What had inadvertently not been posted. So they had to re-edit the video and post it back online with the full context of Trayvon's mother being the one to kind of poke fun at the stereotype that he liked to eat chicken.
Now, I can feel the tension all the way from Florida as you have tried to report fairly on this story. When you get these emails and these comments saying you're a racist and worse, must be kind of depressing.
It's really bad. I mean, every now and then you'll get one that is uplifting. Well, someone will say to you, you know, that was a very objective report. Thank you for being fair. But then you'll get one that says, oh, thanks for finally unraveling the truth about that no good, rotten, up to no good teenager who deserved to get shot. You know, so, you know, you have to be really strong, and you have to just keep your finger really close to the delete button, Howie.
A very polarizing story. Frances Robles, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Up next, Al Gore's Current TV fires Keith Olbermann, triggering an angry war of words. And Olbermann's replacement is the man dumped by CNN, Elliot Spitzer.